Welcome one and all to the beginning of Twilight-Tober Zone 2021. We're starting this year's marathon with an episode that many critics and fans remember well and praise abundantly, that being A Passage for Trumpet. This was the first of 4 episodes starring Jack Klugman. He's tied with Burgess Meredith for the most lead character appearances in the series. It also featured the debut of John Anderson, another actor who'd show up a handful of times, and was directed by Don Medford. Medford returned to the Twilight Zone to helm 4 more installments, including one with Klugman. This also wasn't his first foray into the genre, as he directed 30-plus episodes of Tales of Tomorrow. For more information on that show, check out last year's review of What You Need. In A Passage for Trumpet, a down-on-his-luck alcoholic musician named Joey Crown has hit rock bottom. None of his old friends want to play with him anymore because of his drinking, but Joey says the only time he feels worthwhile is when he's drunk. After selling his trumpet for booze money and going on another bender, he attempts to commit suicide by jumping in front of a truck. When he wakes up, he doesn't recognize any of the people in the neighborhood, and none of them react to his attempts at interaction. Thinking he's a ghost, Joey wanders around until he meets a man who can actually see and hear him. This man also plays trumpet, and informs Joey that what he's experiencing isn't exactly what it seems. This episode all hinges on the likability of Jack Klugman's portrayal of Joey Crown. Most notably known as Oscar Madison in the Odd Couple TV series from the 1970s and other projects like the classic film 12 Angry Men, Klugman plays an earnest, very authentic-feeling character in his first trip to the Twilight Zone. You do root for Joey on his journey to find what he's looking for. In this case, it seems to be a reason to live. With Rod Serling behind the writing here, Crown is a character archetype that pops up in a decent amount of his stories. The monologue Joey goes off on at the beginning of the episode has Rod's fingerprints all over it.
I can't even talk to people, Baron, because this horn, that's half my language.
Klugman isn't actually playing whenever the character is shown emitting a few notes, but he did go out of his way to receive lessons, so that at least his mouth position and finger movements would come off as genuine. It's not too distracting, and better than a lot of other similar situations in movies and TV, where the actor is obviously not familiar with the instrument their character is supposed to be an expert in. That little extra effort by Klugman was appreciated, even if he did play with his mouthpiece a little too much. There's a lot of charisma in Joey beneath his melancholy demeanor. You can see where the actor injected life into the character with little spontaneous lines and movements, especially after Crown realizes he's dead.
I'm haunting you. I'm a bougie.
In that same scene, Joey is further convinced he's a ghost by the absence of his reflection in a nearby mirror. There are a lot of different ways this type of thing was pulled off back in those days, but they really went the extra mile in this episode. They constructed a duplicate set and went as far as to cast identical twins for the ticket taker in her booth. As a result, they were able to show more of the mirror for a very impressive practical effect. Now, they did put glass in the frames, and if you look closely, Joey's reflection is faintly there, and on other reflective surfaces in this realm, but those are just small blemishes on an otherwise well-done sequence. There's another well-done standout moment from earlier when Joey is hit by this truck. It actually is pulled off pretty believably. The choice of dynamic and moving shots in combination with the stunt work and those quick cuts made this a believable collision. We had seen this done less effectively in, again, What You Need. In this case, well-executed editing far exceeded sped-up footage. The woman's reaction and that snap zoom really sold this too. Aside from the movie theater exterior, the sets were some of the simplest built for an episode. One of the little Easter eggs you can catch outside the club is a banner for Houghton & Houghton Construction. This was a nice little reference to series producer Buck Houghton. Of course, a lot of these decisions we can attribute to the show's regular cinematographer, George T. Clements. Apparently, when Rod Serling and Buck Houghton were on set for a visit, he exclaimed to them that director Don Medford was making this episode as if it were an hour long. Convinced it was shaping up to be one of the best pieces he had ever made, Clemens tried to push them to make it a 2-parter or convince CBS to give them a full hour for the installment, but this didn't happen. Clemens would say that the final piece was cut to shreds. While Medford did later direct one of the rare hour-long episodes of the show, it does make one wonder what we missed out on with this episode. It's already considered a classic by many admirers of the series, so would it have actually been better or too bloated with the bonus content? That's a mystery we'll never have an answer to. Eventually, Joey runs into a man playing the trumpet who acknowledges his presence. Surprised, Crown's offered a chance to play. He takes the man up on his offer, and it's then revealed Joey isn't dead after all. All the people he didn't recognize in town are actually the ghosts, but they don't know they're dead yet. Joey is in limbo, in between life and death. The stranger asks Crown which he preferred, and after some reflection on the positive aspects of his existence, he chooses life. The man compliments Joey on his exceptional talent and walks off, when Crown asks his name.
Call me Gabe.
Gabe.
Short for Gabriel.
With that, Joey wakes up on the sidewalk unharmed, is given a few bucks by the driver to not report the accident, and buys his horn back. Later, we see him up on his roof playing when he's approached by a woman named Nan. New to the city, she asks if Joey can show her around, and we end on a happy, fulfilled note. First off, in my probably unpopular opinion, John Anderson outshines Jack Klugman in just his one scene as Gabriel. He absolutely nails the essence of an unthreatening, helpful guiding force. It's very hard to do that without coming off as insincere or contrived, but from every line read to minute facial expression, Anderson embodies a welcoming, kind, and thoughtful divine manifestation.
It's a nice talent you got. To make music, move people. That's an exceptional talent, Joey. Don't waste it.
The circular light above his head acting as his halo is pitch-perfect visual storytelling. This character was portrayed fantastically in all aspects. By far, my favorite part of the episode. The Nan character, presumably again named after Serling's daughter, is a nice touch at the end of the story. The actress, Mary Webster, would show up in another Klugman-starring Medford-directed episode called Death Ship in Season 4. Overall, this is a nice little heartwarming story to fit in with the likes of One for the Angels, Walking Distance, and The Big Tall Wish. While not quite on the same level in terms of quality for me, it's still a nice break from the show's signature sci-fi and more prominent supernatural themes. I'd recommend it if you're looking for Rod Serling's take on something like It's a Wonderful Life. And if this doesn't sound like your cup of tea, fear not. We have a whole month's worth of episodes to get through this year as we travel deeper into the Twilight Zone.